How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando. Here you go, City of Champions, my friends. I don't have the real one, but I'm assuming that when the club, we can have the replica trophies. Maybe you'll see one right behind me, maybe, right? But for now, we got this, right? So I want to congratulate, not only Orlando City for a well-deserved U.S. Open Cup championship, to the city of Orlando as well. Very delighted. A lot of people we're still celebrating, and I think not only the club but the players and as well as the fans still celebrating a historic championship for Orlando City. So thanks to everyone that's live right now. We're about over 11 people. With me is Mr. Tom Traxler, a guest with us today, as well as David and Paola. So let's start with David. How you doing, my friend?
Well, I'm doing fantastic. Hope everyone had a great week. I hear that something happened Wednesday. I don't know. So I am as excited as a dog with two tails. Got to spend the day, the night with my sons, with friends from England. The night was incredible, but because we have a special guest, and I want to go ahead and introduce him. Um, I want to mention the 20 plus people that came over to shake my hand, to tell me how much they liked the show. Thank you very much for that. All the words, everything. I take it too hard because, like anything that is produced by fans, we're not getting paid for this. We do it for the love of the club, and we hope that we're presenting our club in a good light. Um, so thank you for all the words. I will make sure that Luis and Paola get those messages that you guys sent us. The people that took pictures with me, I don't know why you want those pictures, but evidently some people want to have record. They actually talked to me, so thank you very much for that. And also to the guys of Orlando City Fan TV, who when I saw them, I just hugged them. I didn't say anything to them. Anybody that is a fan of this club and produces content, they know all those years of losing seasons, of getting the crap beat out of us, and still we had to show up with a smile on our face to talk about another loss. Now we get to talk about a win. So with that said, the person, if you look at your screen to your bottom left, needs no introduction. This person, podcaster, broadcaster, a voice alongside uh, Jeff Radcliffe for many years, who ushered us into great moments in our club in USL and MLS. A man that has coached at high school level in Central Florida, semi-professional, professional indoor and outdoor, uh, small business owner, a true legend in this club, and a true legend in our community in Central Florida. It's with great pleasure and pride, I have to say, that I, for a second time, get to share microphones with a man that truly deserves no introduction, Mr. Tom Traxler. How you doing, Tom? Tom,
And you can say all those things. Did you hear me? I said it was great. Thank you for the introduction, and David, you can come along with me wherever I go, and you can do that same thing for me. That'd be great. I
absolutely.
appreciate that.
Before you walk
Wonderful.
into the room.
Exactly.
uh,
What a way to walk into a room, right?
absolutely. Paola?
No, I'm jealous now. How I can follow that introduction, Dave? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. How are you, my friends? We're campeones, campeones. So I'm here with my flag and everything. I got a flag. My brother, for some reason, he got this flag in his job, and he's like, "This is for my sister." So I want to give a shout out to Mike, Michael, Alex, Anakin. They were with me in the tailgate, and a huge shout out to Taylor, that he was a busy man on Wednesday, but he said he made sure to say hello to everybody. But I'm excited. I'm still dreaming about the night of last Wednesday, and I don't know what happened on the weekend. I already flushed that out of my mind, but I'm still sharing that victory.
Right. So Orlando City came from winning a championship. Obviously, we're still very excited about that. We'll discuss um, what occurred that night. I was actually, be honest with you, very. I was right there at the press box, and I was kind of like, I mean, it was very hot, I would say, but it was all well worth it. Seeing Explorer is so packed, but I was actually a little concerned. The first half, I was just like, okay, we cannot break the deadlock. This is getting a little bit out of hand now. And Sacramento, their stats are, you know, uh, that said, they're the best defensive minded team in the USL. And they truly show that in the first half. But it took the $13 million man, Facundo Torres, to just had a little genius there. And once the gates opened once, Rodrigo Schlegel hold the door and then just let everybody in. All the goals came through, and it could have been a couple more. I think Benji had a couple of chances as well to score. I think the subs came very motivated, very gun ho, to get the job done. And good thing is that Orlando punished Sacramento Republic on the spaces that they left for the Lions, especially on on the back line. The back line that was so solid in the first half started dwindling down their momentum after the Facundo Torres goal. That was my first assessment of the game. Dave, what were your thoughts regarding, for starters, the game, the first and second half?
Well, the first half, it was I don't know, like two drunk men in a dark room trying to connect. I guess I was getting nervous. I'm gonna be honest with you because I felt that the night was primed for Sacramento to punish us late in the game, and then for us not to have enough time to come back from that. Football is always cruel and unpredictable. But the cruelty was reserved for Sacramento, and the unpredictability came for us. It like magic. I don't know. Hollywood could have not written it better. My oldest son, David, in the 65th minute, looks at me and says, "Dad, there's 25 minutes left. Something has to happen because we can't let this go on." All the way to the 90th minute, and I said to him, I said something will happen, and it happened. El Rayo Angulo
Oh yeah.
pressed what was a blunder of a back pass by former Lion Connor Donovan. Wrestled the ball, gave it to Benji, who I have seen the tape 1,000 times. Benji takes the ball and knows where he needs to put it. It was a simple pass that Facundo, with his left foot, just kicked it to the upper 90, and that place exploded. If you have watched the videos, you can hear the microphone literally cracking. That's what happens when 25,500 people scream at once. When that happened, it was like a gorilla just came off my shoulders because I knew we were gonna win at that point. So that's my impression. The rest of the night, it's a blur to me, but that moment I will remember that till the day I die, because the thunder, the vibration of all those people was something to behold. Because it has been a long, long while since the last time we had that many Orlando City fans under the floodlights at Explorer.
And Tom, what were your thoughts regarding the game? I'm sure that you were watching it. I don't know if you were in the stadium or not. If you can tell us a little bit about that.
I was in the stadium, yes, indeed. And at first, what I was just taking in was the entire atmosphere. I've been to a lot of games this year, and um, it, I get disappointed when I don't see a full stadium. I know we all know where this club came from. We all know the history of this club well from its USL days, and then into MLS, and the selling out the Citrus Bowl, and then the average crowd, and it's just been dwindling. So it's upsetting to me when I go there and it's not. But that night was a completely different night, and I was just trying to take in everything. I was just mesmerized by the wall, and I was watching an absolute full wall, and listening to the crowd that was around, and feeling the emotion that was in the building that night. The tifo was fantastic. I mean, what a beautiful tifo. Um, the noise, the energy. I was just trying to take all of that in, and the nerves as well. There were nerves that were present, and all of it just made for what turned out to be a great night for Orlando City. The game, if you're coming in and you're Sacramento, what do you have to lose? You're the USL team. You're not supposed to be in this situation. So if you lose, well, that's expected. So kind of the pack was off their back in a way, and they could just go play freely. Whereas I thought more of the pressure was on Orlando City. You're the MLS team. You're the team that's playing at home, the team that's expected to win. And sometimes living up to that expectation in front of a massive crowd is tough. So credit to Orlando City for the performance that they put in. I thought early going that Sacramento were very dynamic up front. The way they play their 3-4-3 and get their backs very high. They play with a double 10 and a double 6. I thought they created problems for Orlando City. Orlando City with Kara. I mean, Kara's more of a real target striker, isn't he? And his mobility is probably not that great, but he allowed the game to slow down. So when Oscar introduced Benji Michel, his pace took over the game, and that dropped off their back four, their back three, their back four, sometimes their back five, because the two wide can drop in and make it look like a five at the back. That dropped them off, which allowed Facundo Torres more room to operate, and that's when he became dynamic in the game, and absolutely took it over. I thought the young man, his first goal was great. I think he's been a great player for the club since day one, and I've told people that anytime he's available, he should play. Grabbed the penalty, wanted the penalty, the second penalty, or his second goal, he wanted the penalty. I thought that was fantastic from him. And Benji gets his just rewards with the third goal. And I think just listening to the eruption of noise, I think David alluded to in the stadium, and listening to the crowd, cheer at once, and listening to the Olays was beautiful. And it was a night that none of us will ever forget. And I'm just so glad that we could all be there and share it together.
And definitely, I think Facundo Torres's brace definitely, not only he broke the deadlock that Sacramento had, but I mean, it's just I feel that he has maybe one more season with Orlando, and if he keeps playing at this level, maybe one more season with Orlando maybe can make a run for the MLS Cup. Definitely next season. Maybe we're gonna get a couple of new players also, I'm sure. And Facundo Torres is going to be the cornerstone of that team. And if Orlando makes it pretty far, I think Europe is definitely next for the Uruguayan wonder kid, right? I definitely believe that he has what it takes. He's definitely demonstrated it, especially playing a final is not easy mentally for a player. You saw Ergin. Ergin scored 14 goals in the Austrian league last season, like it's nothing. Playing this type of level of soccer and in such atmosphere where you have not only just the wall, but you have the whole city, expecting, this to get done. I'm sure for any player, they could feel a little bit of pressure. So definitely Ergin had his moment. He definitely contributed for this team to also win. So I'm happy with his performance as well. Paola, what were your thoughts regarding Orlando? First half, second half?
First half, I was nervous. It was, and we said it last week. They came here to win. Sacramento was gonna be a headache. You said it, Luis, with that defense. I was scared at some point. I was like, "Oh, come on, let's go, boys! Don't drop anything," because one little mistake in that first half, it was gonna go either way, or to Orlando or to Sacramento. But then I told Alec and whoever was with me, Jose, I was like, in the halftime, somebody's gonna woke up and is gonna say, "Hey, let's do this, because if we don't get the first goal, we're not gonna win this cup. So thank God, Ivan Angulo, like you said, Benji were there pressuring because they were tired. They were running around. They were pressuring us since the first minute. And I rewatched the game for a purpose so I can hear the commenters, because I was like, I want to hear what they're going to say about us in the entire game. And they were saying, like, hey, like if the first 15 minutes, if Orlando doesn't score, they're going to lose. Well, guess what? We have a cup now. Thank you. But great performance. They deserve it. Like Pareja said, like they ask him, hey, who is your man of the match? Like who is your player for this game? And he said everybody contribute something on this game, and I'm totally with him. Everybody put their hearts to the pitch, and that's what it counts. So I was there like dreaming, because I was behind the bench. I was hearing what the coaches were saying, people reacting. There were people their first time in a soccer game behind me, and we were educating him. And I was like, "Hey, you better come for a future game, not only a final. Let's start coming into games." And he was like super pumped. So I'm super happy of what Orlando accomplished last week. Hopefully we get more attendance, like Tom was saying. Like I want to see more people, because our chants give them motivation, and that's what now they need for the future and the incoming games. But I was happy. I'm still daydreaming. So back to you, Luis.
I'm going to say this. This to me should be the starting lineup for Orlando City moving forward. Um, I mean, I know a lot of people have a sour taste in their mouth with Urgent Kara. And there's a lot of, I was in the press box. A lot of colleagues too also, were saying, oh, how come he's so slow and things like that. To me, this is the starting lineup. I think Ivan Angulo today, on this game, he definitely was a difference maker on the wing, as well as Facundo Torres. I love Junior Urso also on the wing. He was, when Facundo was going gun ho, trying to cut through the middle, or maybe switch sides with Angulo on the flanks. Junior Urso right behind him, trying to recuperate the ball. Also being present in pressing, the double six formation that they had here in Sacramento with La Grasa and Fernandez. And Fernandez, actually, to me, he had one of the worst games in their season specifically. But to me, this is the starting lineup. I don't know what Dave thinks. Do you think this is it? This is the starting lineup until next season. This is the A team.
Well, real quick, I think if the Viking Robin Jansen is available, to me, he's still our number one choice. Nothing against Rodrigo. The man played like a man possessed, and I really like that. I really like this kid. His energy. He was screaming like, I don't know, like a Viking. That's the only thing I can think of. I think that we played very aggressively, especially in the first half. We wanted to go for the win. Facundo Torres was interviewed after the end of the game, and he said that they knew that all the pressure was on Orlando City, that because the other team wasn't an MLS team, that they had nothing to lose. Win, lose this game, they're still gonna come out as heroes. So they wanted to pace themselves and be calm and just wait for the moment where the other team will make a mistake, and they did exactly that. As you guys can see, they immediately gave the ball away, goal, then desperation. I felt that Sacramento had the opportunity to level, but they wasted it with that unnecessary. It wasn't even a foul. It was like a mugging of Benji Michel, and at that point, once Facundo Torres put that penalty in the back of the net, in my opinion, the game was over. And obviously, Benji's goal comes in, like we all know. If you're running behind on the scoreboard, you put all the meat on the grill, all attack, and then you usually get punished with one or two goals. And and that's what happened. I think Benji's was. You know what happens when they're tired? These guys were tired, and this. I mean, it has to be demoralizing to hear 25,000 people just cheering the other team. Things are not going right, and obviously you can tell that they were upset in their interviews after the game, where they said, "Well, we control the game. We were in it all the way, almost till the end. They just capitalized on a mistake, which is exactly what happened." Not to take away from Sacramento or Orlando City. Like I said, football is a game of opportunities, and those opportunities are going to present themselves two or three times in a game. Whoever takes care of them can win. And aside from that, yeah, I think we should try our luck with what's working. I believe this same guys. Well, it was a rotated squad going to Philadelphia. We're going to talk about that. But at the end, listen, we lifted a trophy, and it doesn't matter what I say. We won. We're champions. But this game wasn't without controversy, if I may. Our friend Taylor Twellman inserted himself in a situation that, when I heard about it, I immediately went to our sources within the club and I asked, "What's going on?" They said, "This is nothing. This guy is just making a storm out of a glass of water, and just we'll say what we need to say at the time." One of our sources said, "Hey, to be honest with you, the club is taking too long, and this is getting legs. And like we all know, people will RT anything online. Just RT. It takes 2 seconds, and boom, off you go." And of course, it has thrown a little bit of mud into our win. And there was some new information that came out from the most unlikely source, from our friends in OC Soccercast, that it turns out that the park, it's in Winter Springs, and it's near one of the girls, where one of the girls lives. And the story is a public park. One of the things that I found out from our listeners that are in law enforcement is, unless law enforcement tells you have to go in a public park, nobody can tell you have to leave. It's a public park. It's exactly that. It's open to anyone, as long as you're not obviously breaking the law and a law enforcement person is telling you need to leave. So it turns out the person that was there has an association with Orlando City. We don't know who that person is or what's the association, but that person was there because their child plays in a league that uses some of those fields. And somebody from Sacramento said, "Hey, you work with Oscar Pareja?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's true, but I'm here for my child." And they're like, "You gotta leave." And they're like, "I'm not gonna leave my minor child by himself. I'm gonna stay here." So they moved some vans to block the view, and after that, they decided to go to the federation and say, "Hey, these guys were spying." And of course, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, he had a camera." Then they recanted, and he was taking notes. They recanted. The guy was on the phone. Guess what? How many times we're just waiting for something to finish or whatever, and you're playing with your phone? The fact is that obviously our detractors are going to use this to say that we won because of foul play. I just don't see who can spy and create the blunder that they created, who can spy and create the penalty that Orlando City was gifted, and who can spy and create this last 50 minutes of mayhem. I'm gonna leave it at that. I keep telling people like Taylor Twelveman that this is gonna blow up in your face. You're gonna look like a clown, because what I already know is that Orlando City is not sitting on their hands with this. So I'll leave it at that.
What are your thoughts regarding what happened with Tom, specifically?
Look, Taylor's got a job to do, right? And like Alexi Lawless, and I've been fortunate enough to meet them all. And if you ever meet Alexi, he's just as kind and nice a guy as you'd ever want to meet. But on air, he's going to stir up the pot. That's kind of his job. and Taylor will do a lot of the same things. Who was there? I don't know. I tend to think that as much as teams know about each other, I'm sure Sacramento watched Orlando City play as much as they wanted to. I am quite sure that Orlando City had the opportunity to watch Sacramento play quite a lot. So I don't think there was a lot of secrets about the way the two teams played. I think as coaches, you always like to know how a team's what 11 they're gonna use, and I think that's usually the only thing that's in question. But I think they usually have a very good idea of what those 11 are going to be. So really, honestly, the guy was maybe there was a guy there. I don't know what he was probably able to get, if he was even there to get anything, which sounds like he wasn't. Was
Right.
probably not very much. And I think this is a whole bunch of ado about nothing, really.
That's right. That's right. I totally agree. Paola, what are your thoughts regarding the news that Tolman broke out?
Hello, come on. Like, it's Twillman. He will, like Tom said, he will do whatever to just stir the pot and continue creating drama. I was hearing Extra Time podcast from MLS, and they were saying the same thing. Like, come on. They were one dude, I don't remember his name. He was like, come on, for just being in a public, park, it's just, BS, but it is what it is.
That was my
Don't
man
you?
Andrew Weeby, by the way, in Extra Time Podcast MLS. He follows me, and we
Oh, he
DM each other
follows you.
sometimes. Oh, yeah, come on now. I don't talk to people in the street. I talk to people that have information. So, anyways, I talked to him, and by this means, Weeby, thank you very much for bringing up something that was driving me insane. This is
But
not the
don't.
first club trophy in our history. It's
Oh
not.
yeah, that's
He
true.
said he said they were successful in USL. They won trophies. He named them. He numbered them, and he said something that I have been saying for a long while, that us old school OG fans, our desperation with the club was primarily because we come from an era of success. Then we come to MLS, and unfortunately, things were done that should have never been. Inchi belonging in this club. I'm gonna die on that hill. You guys know me. And unfortunately, we went through 5 years of despair, but now we're back on track.
Don't you think it was, I mean, call me, conspiracy theorists or whatnot, but don't you feel it's more of like Orlando always gets shafted because it's a smaller market, and California, it's always, they're always trying to push the California teams because, I mean, Sacramento Republic was ready to be an MLS team at some point, and it just feels like that's the way the ratings pull, right? It's conveniently better for the league for LAFC to be MLS Cup champion, and maybe go and run for CONCACAF Champions League than maybe, I don't know, Nashville or Orlando City. It's I feel I mean, don't you guys get that sense, or maybe I'm overreacting? I don't know what maybe Tom or Dave thinks regarding that.
Um, I've for a long time I've called MLS straight up what they are, a bunch of whores. And there's different rules for different markets. If you look at the way Orlando City had to come in, we had to have the downtown stadium, we had to have the grass, but yet, Seattle has turf. Now, albeit I'm not saying those fans there they pack their stadium. It's a full stadium. They have a lot of people to go, which is great. Charlotte comes in, they can have a big stadium. Well, look at their owner. He's one of the richest owners in the NFL. Atlanta comes in, they can play in a football stadium. But yet Sacramento, who are a smaller market, they're being held up right now because they don't have their ownership quite in check. They don't have a stadium yet, so they've not been granted their entry. You look at teams like Austin, they needed a downtown stadium. St. Louis, they need a downtown stadium. So in MLS, there seems to be rules for some and rules for others. And it largely depends on how much. It seems to me that it depends upon how much money you have as an owner, or how much star power you have, or what you can bring. this league will bend over and do whatever they have to do, and maybe that's good for the league. I just know that Orlando City wouldn't be allowed to stay at Camping World, which look, Exploria is great, and I know a lot of there's Premier League clubs that would kill or die to have a stadium like Exploria Stadium, but Orlando City wasn't allowed to do that. Orlando City had to have a downtown stadium before they were going to get granted admission into MLS. They had to have the fund. They had to have everything in place that they knew that was coming. Yes, they were allowed to start at Camping World, but they couldn't stay there. Whereas other teams are just allowed to stay in these. New England Revolution is and look at their attendance, for goodness sake. How badly could they do with having a downtown Boston stadium where people could walk instead of being close to an hour outside of Boston in Foxborough, where, how many people are they really getting per game? But Kraft's got a lot of money, so they get to do what Kraft wants to do, right? So, those are just my thoughts on that matter. I think it's rules for those that have a lot of money and rules for others that don't. Now, the Wilfs do have a lot of money, but they weren't the ownership group that came in that brought the team into MLS. It was Flavio, and Flavio, he has a lot of money, but he wasn't up near the top in terms of net worth in the ownership groups of MLS.
Luis, let's go to the comments there because they're piling up.
That's right.
Crazy.
There you go. Okay. So Jonathan Rittner says, "Say it louder for the people in the back, Tom." There you go. Thomas Dupree. How many DPs does LAFC have now? That's right. Right.
And every time another one comes, if someone comes available and if they want to go to a market where they already have too many, they'll make a rule that'll allow that to happen. You can guarantee it.
Yep, that is completely real, and that's exactly what I was saying. It's it's in every sport. I feel like the small markets get shafted big time. Joshua Tall, do you think Robin Jansen will play Wednesday? I think so. Personally, I do believe so. We'll have to see.
Personally, I think we're doing okay with Rodrigo. If Robin is ready, sure. If not, let the man rest. I'm gonna be honest with you. Atlanta is not taking my sleep away. I know we are jumping ahead, but if we defeat them this Wednesday, their season's over. More incentive for you guys to go to downtown on a Wednesday at 6 in the afternoon. So, food for thought there. Paola, what do you think?
I think if he's gonna play on Wednesday, it will be not Schlegel something. It will be Antonio Carlos. I think Antonio Carlos needs some rest. I saw him on Saturday against Philly. He was kind of tired. Everybody was tired. Come on, let's be honest. But I think Rodrigo is much younger. He has more energy. And if we see Jansen on Wednesday, there's a possibility of not or yes. Like you said, David, I don't care about Atlanta. It should be Antonio Carlos who rests and not Schlegel.
All right, Victor Rivera. He says he said it himself during the broadcast. He said he doesn't affect the game but creates controversy. Not quoting him to the T, but something like that. That was what Tillman said. All right. This is Thomas Dupree. I also heard that OCSC employees deflated all of the soccer balls, giving themselves a massive advantage. Shameless. It says Jim D. When we were getting tracks just like the old days. Thomas Dupree, his early season form was pretty good, not so much since the summer. Joshua Tall, SMH Spygate. It's kind of funny. They were asking the Sacramento coach regarding that, and he had honestly no comment. He was just like, we came in, we want to win. We were doing everything in our power to try to win, and it just didn't work the way we wanted to. They have players that are in a different level than our players, and that showed on the pitch, especially in the second half. He didn't really, it was a perfect opportunity for another coach to say, yeah, and yeah, I feel like, they knew a little bit where we were going, but no, he didn't bite into it. He actually congratulated Orlando and said they were the clear winner, right? So that says a lot from their organization too. The hunker down, it says Kara leads the team in goals still, and he's playing in a system he has never played with, just one on top. Used to be two up top, never been a speed guy. That's right. I think he's a classic pivot number 9.
He
right?
does lead, but is I would ask the question, is I think he's on 6 or 7 goals for the season. Would that be right? I think he's on 6 or 7.
It's 7, I believe, Tom, because
7 on what, 20, 23, 24 games for him?
yes, because we have to remember that he was hurt for
Yeah.
I don't know, 6 or 7 games this season.
Yeah, that was tough. I mean, he scored some goals. I think you certainly want a higher return rate, don't you, from your striker? I guess you have to give him another season. When I watch, I'm still not totally bought in on him. I would like for Orlando City to have like a Benji. Okay, they need someone with pace up top. I think you have to have a striker that has pace. It changes the game. It doesn't allow a team to play incredibly high lines against you. If they don't have to worry about a striker getting behind them, they can come and press you. They can come and press you because they're not worried about your pace up top. Whereas if you have a guy that can stretch you, it changes them just a little bit. So as much as Carr is fine and Tesho, I would like them, in addition to Benji, to have another striker with pace. And that might have been, and the young man's name escapes me, the young man who was coming in this offseason that they bought in, but he had a knee
Gaston
injury.
Gonzalez.
Yes, Gaston. That may have changed some things, and not having him is unfortunate because I would have liked to have seen him in this team.
Yeah, for sure. The hunker down. Rodrigo screams like a banshee. Says Thomas Dupree. So Kara hasn't been bad this season. He's been average, was a DP that makes him a bust. That's what it says. Okay. Tiago V says it's true that Pedro Galese, it's a free agent right now. Look. There's a lot.
Go ahead, but I was gonna mention he's not a free agent until December.
That's right.
He's still under contract.
I just want to say, I mean, the club just won a championship. So talking about a player leaving, I feel like it's for clicks. It's to stir the pot. It's not responsible, and I say it in the nicest way possible. Something tells me that Pedro is going to stay. I can definitely tell you per Peruvian sources, he has no offers. And you don't want to go and play in Argentina right now. The economy is terrible. Why would you leave the comfort of the United States to go to Argentina? Why would you? I mean, the only place I would think he would ever go would be maybe Saudi Arabia. But do you really want to? Right, or China. I mean, I don't really see Pedro, and this is nothing against Pedro. I don't see Pedro in Europe.
And I have something to add, Luis. I spoke with our good friend Nachito Sanchez. For those that forget, Nachito was our source with the Gaston Gonzalez transfer. Nachito is not only a broadcaster, but a beat writer and covers Unión de Santa Fe Football Club in Santa Fe, Argentina. And he was telling me that Orlando City Scouts are looking at people in their B team and their first team at the moment, also the academy. And last, he said that he predicted that come December, there's going to be a floodgate of Argentinian players leaving the country. The Argentinian peso is on a free fall right now, has devaluated again 3 times this past week. And players are demanding that they get paid in hard currency, basically dollars or euros. And the problem with Argentina right now is you can bring that type of currency into the country, you cannot live with it. So basically the salaries are being devaluated, and so basically we had this long conversation about it. Hopefully we'll be able to bring him on come December to talk about this. and where he said that the situation in the country is really bad. I felt really bad because he's telling me about all the things that are happening over there. But when it comes to the game of football, we are definitely gonna see an influx of players into MLS. Their misfortune, our gain, and also brings. We talked about Ezequiel Barco, as you guys know, player for Atlanta United. $70 million. He's back with River Plate in Argentina. Nobody's gonna be paying that amount of money because Argentinian teams want to sell to clear debt because obviously the Argentinian peso is devaluating. So I think Atlanta United is gonna have to eat that $17 million right now. But I just wanted. I'm sorry, Luis. I jumped in. I just wanted to bring that up so the people have a broader.
One thing I'm gonna say regarding Pedro, aside of that, and then I'm gonna switch to Paula, is um, there's right now rumors through Daily Mail that Ecuador is going into a scandal for a player. A player from Ecuador is actually Colombian, and he played the qualifiers with fake papers. And because he played with fake papers, and if Chile, which is the country that's making those allegations, is able to prove, apparently there's an audio of the player that was leaked by Daily Mail, the Daily Mail in the UK. If this is true and he goes to FIFA, then he goes on trial, Ecuador may lose the spot in the World Cup, opening a spot for either Chile, and also they will add Peru because Peru was fifth. So I'm not saying that Pedro. I mean, if Peru, let's say, goes and this goes the way Chile is saying, Pedro is going to go to the World Cup. That changes things for a player. It automatically puts a different value on him.
And so Cartagena as well.
Yeah, and in Cartagena as well, because he's going to be, both of them are going to be sent to the training camp for the Peruvian national team the 24th of September to play against Mexico at the Rose Bowl. They both are going to be there. And then they play in the Audi Field against El Salvador. So those are friendlies. So if this happens, what I would recommend Orlando City right now is to pay Pedro now. I mean, I think this is the easiest way, because if this hits and he goes to the World Cup with Peru and Peru gets in through the back door of this World Cup in Qatar, his value will increase double of Pedro Galez's value. So, and that's where the money from Qatar and Saudi Arabia and maybe other countries are going to be more enticing on that level. But if you already secure him right now, I think it'll be the easiest way. Now, he deserves it, in my opinion. He deserves to be one of the at least top 3 best paid goalkeepers in the MLS. I mean, he has definitely demonstrated. I know Orlando's not a big market, but he's definitely demonstrated it. But I wouldn't say for sure he's a free agent. He wants to go, because when you say he's a free agent, it just kind of steers the pot that he really wants to go and he wants to stay here. His whole family lives here. He loves the city. So, let's just take it with a grain of salt. Those allegations that Pedro wants to leave and he's a free agent. I don't know what Tom thinks regarding that, but what do you think about Pedro Galese?
Look, please forgive me, Miguel, my good friend Miguel Gallardo, but he's been the best goalkeeper this club's had. He's outstanding. Now, Miguel is probably one of the most iconic that we've ever had, and I love Miggy. But I mean, you just look at the quality. You look at the quality, the saves he pulls off. I mean, he's great with his feet. He's honestly just been easy, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the best goalkeeper this club has had from a technical standpoint.
Yeah.
So I hope they. I don't know his contract situation, to be honest with you, but he's certainly a cornerstone of the team, and you don't want to lose someone like that. So I'm sure the club's aware of the scenarios, and I'm sure that do everything they could to try to make sure that his signature is secured for a longer term future. And how wouldn't you love Orlando? How many players come here and don't leave? How many players come to Florida and don't leave? And there's players from all over the world that come here. I mean, Alan Smith is here. Alan Smith from England. He decided to live here. I mean, there's more than that. John Terry comes here. People love Orlando. People love Florida. So I am sure that Pedro is loving life, and I'm sure his family is loving life
Yeah, for sure.
here in Orlando. So I, just from a standpoint of, I enjoy watching him play, and I think he's fantastic. I do hope he whenever that time comes, he resigns.
Paula, what are your thoughts regarding those news from Pedro?
Oh, he must stay. He must stay. That dude, like, he has been my favorite goalkeeper from the team. I didn't watch Gallardo when he was playing. Unfortunately, I was not aware about Orlando City, but Pedro must stay. And he's more than a goalkeeper. He's a leader too in the field when he's in the pitch. So, and I was talking with David in the Sounders game. I'm like, do you think that Pedro will stay? And he shut me. He actually answered me without answering it. He blocked Loredo's strike. And I'm like, never mind, David, just save your answers, because he just answered me with that save. So with that being said, he must stay.
That's right. That's right. So we're gonna go some more comments, and then we'll switch to this to the third topic, which would be what happened in Philly.
I don't know what
Jared
happened.
Dunn-
Did we play? I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Jared Dunn, happy to see Tom on the pod. There you go. Joshua Tall, Orlando City needs to do that. And to Pedro, and I agree, he does deserve it. The Daily Mail, he laughs. That's what I'm saying. I'm just here to inform people. I mean, I know what the Daily Mail's reputation is, but that's what the Daily Mail is claiming. And there's the crazy part is the audio, which I've heard the audio today. And he says straight up, I was born in Colombia. And he cites somebody that was paid off to do his papers and all this crazy stuff. I don't know who leaked it, but they got a hold of it, and that's the big bomb right now. Everyone's talking in Peru, in South America, regarding that. Ryan Marcus, MLS scouts love the Y Scout footage and stats on Argentinian players, plus the league quality is almost the same. There you go. Ryan Marcos, no, Pedro will not leave the USA. He has his family based here now, and it's very difficult to go to China and Saudi Arabia. Thomas Dupree, sell Pedro on CCL next season. That could be. Ryan Marcus, Kara has brick feet. Oh, geez. Jim D, we need to put that last nail in Atlanta's coffin. Yep, I agree. Victor Rivera, wasn't Don excuse about ATL and other teams allowed to play in their stadium is because they control the schedule, if I recall, which is a stupid excuse, right? And then a pesto says Torres best player. There you go. Victor Rivera, the man that met the lay and Tom. Victor Rivera, I heard they wanted to pick for dart practice. And then Ahmed Salim, he says, I don't know about anyone else, but I was a little nervous in the first half as well. I think he's talking about the first half for Orlando City and Sacramento. But we'll talk about, what really happened in Philly. I mean, a complete nightmare.
No, absolutely. I gotta say this, guys. I remember leaving the stadium at 11:30 on a Wednesday, and those guys were still jumping and celebrating. And then the following day, they were at City Hall at noon. I don't know how they did it. Unfortunately, something happened last minute. I was not able to be there. Obviously, Paola was there. I would love for her to tell us how was the atmosphere. But the fact of the matter is, we showed up to fill it with tired legs. Wednesday was a muggy night, Orlando night. I mean, it was. Philadelphia is a very good team. I'm gonna give them that. They're a very good team. They were coming with a lot of rest. They were at home, and quite honestly, they are not the target for us. They already have punched their ticket for the off season or the postseason, and right now our enemies are those teams that are in the 4th place, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th place, because those are the teams that we're playing right now. So, I see some peaks and valleys. Don't read too much into it. This same fan base that some are complaining about it said, let's tank the game in Miami because we have to win a trophy on Wednesday. MLS did us a favor, took that game away. Now, the same fan base that was okay going down to Miami, which is a trash team that is not going to make playoffs no matter how much they jump, they were okay giving them 3 points. Now are upset that we lost to Philadelphia. Listen, what happens is you log onto your Twitter account and the same clowns as always. We're posting stupid stuff, and the admin for Philadelphia put that little meme of the guy with the binoculars and all that, and people are a little salty. It's okay, friends. It's all right because guess what? In the playoffs, it's for real. So at that point, if they catch us rested, they're rested. Again, football is cruel and unpredictable. I'll leave it at that.
I'm gonna go ahead and add, and then I give the mic to Tom. I mean, we have the picture of Mason Stadahar. I mean, again, it was just one of the worst games I've ever had as a goalkeeper. And I mean, I'm not saying that to the point that I'm saying, oh, get rid of him. No, he just had a bad game. He just, and not only that, but the Union, they had a couple of really great goals. I mean, he couldn't really do anything in a couple of those. He considered a penalty, in the second half. He made contact with Uri, and then he's just had a bad night. Now, I think Orlando was still hungover. The whole back line, in my opinion, was an open door. Quoting the famous Disney movie Frozen, it was an open door, completely an open door. I mean, it could have been worse. People were saying, "Hey, this is going to be a Bayern Munich Barcelona. This is going to be 8-2. This is going to be an 8-2. They're going to score like 3 more goals. I think we should just, after coming from such meaningful championship, the only thing I believe the players, the club, us and fans can do is just turn the page, truly, and just focus on what's ahead, because it's going to be a tough road ahead. I mean, we have a couple of good opponents coming up, and that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. Orlando City after Philadelphia, we're facing a couple of good. We're facing Atlanta on Wednesday. I mean, it is a derby for me. I don't know what about you guys. It is a derby for a lot of the fans. And then we got Toronto with their Italian posse. The Bernardeschi, Insigne. They're gonna be definitely trying to kill Orlando, because Orlando recently has always put out good shows against Toronto. And Orlando has had really good games against Toronto. And then another derby, New York City against Orlando. We're going to be playing at Yankee Stadium or maybe Red Bull Arena. I'm not sure, wherever they decide to play, right? And then there's another derby, 3 derbies. 3 derbies, in my opinion, back to back is a trilogy of derbies right there, rivalries. The whole trilogy.
I think of Columbus as a derby as well.
Yeah, and then against Inter Miami, and then the last game at home will be October 9th against Columbus. Tom, losing against Philadelphia, was this the most, what do you make out of the loss, first and foremost? I mean, scoring 3-0, winning a cup, and then having a team literally score 5 on you, and then trying to get mentally ready for Atlanta,
Yeah, I think you'd take it like an Etch-a-Sketch. You ever seen an Etch-a-Sketch where you just shake it and whatever's on there just goes away? I think that's the way you look at it. There was no way Orlando City were going to go and beat Philadelphia after the Wednesday night they had, after the celebrations that went like well into Thursday morning, and then Thursday celebrations again at City Hall. It's an emotional letdown, right? You come off that big high, and then you got to go step into an MLS match. Yes, it's important, but a night like that in front of your fans, so much emotion was poured out. The fellas that I was with watching a game, which I have a really funny story. It shows you what I know about pop culture. I should know more, but I don't. And I was Will Smith was in the box with me. Dennis Chin popped in. Jean-Jacques Vitiello. We were all looking and went, oh, yeah, they got to go play Philly on the weekend. And we all just started laughing. We were like, we knew then there's no chance that they were going to win that game. So I personally, I'd be like, oh, that one's done. We fulfilled the fixture. It's done. It's gone. We're moving on. And there are some huge fixtures that are coming up for this club. And full credit to Philadelphia. Philadelphia are a quality side. Not only a quality side, a quality club. If you look at them from their youth structure through their second team into their first team, under Jim Curtin and their leadership, they've done a hell of a job. You really have to take your hats off to them. So it was a really good team we were playing, and coming off an emotional high, and that was going to be an emotional low. There was no chance that Orlando City were going to go up there and take 3 points, in my opinion. I just don't think it was doable. But there's games coming up where it is going to happen. By the way, the New York City one, that's another one too. Look at the stadium they're allowed to play in, would you please? Yeah. That is a travesty. I've actually walked on that pitch, and it's awful. On one side you're okay, but then you turn and you look the other way, and your orientation is completely off because it goes on for miles. Like, as a player, you're used to this rectangle shape, and you're used to seeing the fans on either side of you, and then so you got fans on depending on which way you're going on one side. Then you turn the other way, and it's just like, whoa, where'd everybody go? And so the orientation there is terrible. It's tight. It's small. But again, look, it's Etihad. It's the Man City owners. It's the New York Yankees. Hey, let me kiss your ass. Do whatever you want to do. So
but
that's
Tom, we're playing at Red Bulls actually. So thank the God for
they're
that.
Gonna play that game.
We're playing at Red Bull
Arena.
Yes.
Oh, because the Yankees are playing.
Yeah, because it's October.
Gotcha. So how bad is that? You got to go use someone else's home stadium. So another reason.
Yeah, you got to go to Jersey.
You brought up something earlier too, which I always think bears repeating, and I caught a lot of people falling into the trap after the game of saying it's the first trophy in club history, and I had to correct everybody and go, it's actually the fifth in club history, and that can't be lost. I was talking with several people at radio shows, and I'm like, that cannot be lost. This club's history can't be lost. The supporters are proud of that. You have to listen to them. The chant, NYCFC, you ain't got no history. I mean, that was the problem with former ownership. They didn't want to think anything existed before MLS. But, last year, Fulham came up as champions in England into the Premier League. They didn't forget the fact that they won the first division and throw the trophy away because they're in the Premier League. This club has 5 trophies. 5 trophies in 11 years. Think about that. Some clubs don't have 5 trophies in 50 years. This club has 5 trophies in 11 years. And I think I don't care that this club's a small market. I look at Green Bay in the NFL. The Green Bay Packers are a small market, and they are the most loyal fan base you'd ever see. And I think this can happen right here, and kind of does. That wall is the same people there every game in, game out, supporting this club. And I think that it could be I think it is, and it could be even more so, one of the special places in MLS. So sorry, I had to say those things. They've been on my mind. It's been bothering.
No, that's welcome. And we're going to go deep into that, Tom, because obviously you have some projects coming up. So trust me, that we're just priming the field for, because I talked to a lot of our listeners. They asked me 2 questions for you, things that people want to hear from you. But with that, Paola, anything to add to what we have ahead?
No. Like I tweeted after our Philly loss, like, people don't understand that we have a heavy weeks coming up and in important games. Philly, like Tom said, it was no way that we were gonna win on the game on Philadelphia. Like, they were partying until late on Thursday, then on City Hall with that heat, because it was horrible horrible, and there was no shade. The player, every single player was there, and they were there. And then I went home because I had to continue working, but they were signing autographs, so they stayed a little bit, and then they went and go train. So I was thinking they better have a lot of water, a lot of Powerade, I don't know, to hydrate, because I didn't, you know, with all that, I don't know if everybody drank, right? Because all that champagne showers that we saw, I don't know if they drink, but at the same time, still they need hydration and all that stuff. So people were tracking trash. The fake fans, I call them fake fans, like, oh, we're back to square one, blah, blah, blah. Well, let me tell you what, you're not following the correct things then, because we have better and most important, like on Wednesday, we better crash and put that last nail, like Victor said, but I think it was Victor, that last nail in that coffin, so we can boop, rest in peace, Atlanta, on Wednesday. So that's all.
Yeah, and I'm gonna add the 3 games that we have coming up at home are must wins.
Yep.
These are must win games. The Wednesday game means a lot for the fans. Orlando needs to come out and score 3 on Atlanta, like in the first half. I mean, they need to come out gun ho. Same against Toronto. They're playing Saturday against Toronto FC, and again, it's a different Toronto FC because they're gonna have world class players. These are players that play Champions League
And a full week of rest.
a year ago. So these are players that are used to heavy competition, and a full week of rest, just like Dave said. And then Columbus, I think, Columbus, it's going to be it's always been a tough opponent, but we need to be strong and we need to be gung-ho here at home in front of our fans, in front of the wall and everything. And, I want to think, and I'm quite sure the players know that they're going to go all out on those 3 games. Now, when it comes to New York City and Inter Miami, in New York City, Orlando has the players to beat New York City at their home. I think it'd be quite a cherry on the cake to beat them in that at Red Bull Arena for sure. And against Inter Miami, that's a derby, and that's something that Inter is going to come out. It's not going to be nice for a lot of people traveling from Orlando going to Miami to see this game. I'm going to say this right now, but it is a derby, and it is something that Orlando needs to definitely go out and not lose. Those games you don't lose. Philadelphia, I don't see us having a rivalry ever with Philadelphia, but with Miami and New York, there is legit animosity when it comes to the clubs. Build not bought. Just like what Tom was saying with New York City, is the same thing with Miami. It's pretty much the same. So, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Tom. So I just want to ask you. This is coming from a lot of the fans talking about Philadelphia at the end of the 2017 season. We went up to Philadelphia. We got shellacked. And I wish I still had the video. You went on the air and you said exactly what we all felt at the moment. You were angry. I remember you tossing a pen. And you said something that touched me that night, or well, that was more like a evening, really. And you said that when people put on the jersey, they have the badge that represent the fans that haven't trusted them with their club history, with their representation and everything, and that players needed to go and win games. And that was a bad representation. Obviously, we had no idea what 2018 was going to look like, which was completely horrible. Some fans feel that there was retaliation from the club, that that people probably pull you to the side. Hey, you can't say those things. I just, the people want to know about how you felt that night, what happened after. Obviously, now you have the freedom to pretty much say what you want. But the fans really want to know, because a lot of people, when I talk about you, Tom, or I brought up the fact that we wanted you on the show, they always bring that moment up. There's the 3.57 gigawatt moment, and the you got tracks, which we all remember those moments with a smile on our face. But when it comes to this moment in particular, we tend to be very serious, because we understood the respect that you were showing the fan base, and also putting the club to task.
So, as a little context, this whole thing. Yes, I, like everyone on this panel, like everyone that's listening, people that go to these games religiously. I love this club. I love what this club means and can mean to the city of Orlando. I grew up in Tampa, Florida, and I grew up at a time, and I know they're the rivals, but please forgive me. At a time back in 1975 and 76, there was no MLS. I grew up with the Tampa Bay Rowdies of the old NASL, and I was lucky enough to watch a city fall in love with a team, and that was the Tampa Bay Rowdies. And when I tell you they had people in the stands, this is back in the late 70s. They had fans of 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 people inside a stadium, and their players were more popular than the Bucks players in Tampa. 100% true. And you never know when you'll get a chance to see something like that again, and I did. Orlando City came to town, and at first, when USL came, I was skeptical, because I knew what USL meant in the whole soccer scheme, but they did a great job, and the fans, again, you started to see the crowds grow, and 20,000 people, and I'm saying it's happening again to me. I'm watching a city fall in love with a team, and I'm falling in love with this team. And so you're proud of your team. We all are proud. We're proud Orlando City supporters. And when a team plays like this, like they did that night, it hurts. It hurts you. And this club is a proud club. And in that moment, that wasn't a proud performance. And I'll never forget. So I'm sitting on the panel with, Lewis, Paul Shaw, Lewis, Miggy, and I think they did it because they knew I'm a lightning rod. And Mackenzie looks at me and goes, "What do you think, Tom?" I'm like, "Me? You're coming to me first? Okay, fine." And I just said, it's unacceptable. I think I'd heard some comments from Jason, and he tried to put some kind of positive spin. And I'm like, I don't know how you could put a positive spin on a loss like that. There's absolutely not a thing positive about it, except it positively sucked. And so I was angry at the comment. I was angry at the performance. I was angry that the players could go out and lie down like that and wear that badge and represent supporters who pour their heart, their money, their soul into this club to support them. And that's how you leave people? No, it was just unacceptable for me. The club always, at least I was told, the club always encouraged me and everybody else on the panel to be honest. And I think you have to be. If you're not honest, people can see through you. So in the moment, I was honest. Did it cost me anything? I don't know. There's all kinds of people tell me all kinds of things about, why I'm not there. Ultimately, why I'm not there, it was really my choice. They offered me a contract. They offered me to come back in 2018. And I'll tell everybody this. I'll tell them now. I don't care. I'm an open book anyway. They offered me to come back on the radio, and I was kind of like, I'm not sure that that's what I'm really into. And we talked about television, and I was told at the time, and please, this has nothing to do with this young man. And I know I read some of the comments, and I know how hard the job is, but they told me at the time they wanted to reward Evan for his loyalty. And it was at that point that I said, you just lost me. You're rewarding him for his loyalty. The years in USL, I did that job for free. I wasn't paid. My store, we sponsored Orlando City. I put my money where my mouth is. And it was a lot of money for a store like mine to sponsor the club. When Jeff and I would go on the road with the club, I paid for it. I paid for the live remotes. I paid for the engineer. I paid to send Jeff and I on the road because we always want to give the supporters a great broadcast. And it's always better when you're live versus when you're in a studio. And I'm like, I do all this and you're telling me that you're rewarding his loyalty? I said, you just said the wrong thing to me. And that was kind of it. And they said, well, we want you to come back and periodically be a part of a broadcast. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. That's great. And I never heard anything after that. But, that's kind of where it went and how it is. But, you move on, you forgive and you forget. Life's too short. And I still get to now do what I did on Wednesday night, which is just sit and cheer and love watching what I got to watch.
And Tom, also the other question that people wanted to know is why did your podcasting career ended? I think that Tom Van and Daniel Dennis do not get as much recognition for their work with Orlando City, and I think they get more recognition for their comedy and for their years as broadcasters on local radio. But what they did with the original soccer cast was they threw in a lifeline to the fans to get to know about the club through a weekly podcast back when most MLS, even Premier League clubs didn't even have one. Let's be honest, it was new technology, it was a new thing. The reason why I downloaded the app and I subscribed to the podcast was because I wanted to find out about Orlando City, because there was no other venue covering the club. It was either the show or our good friend Mike Gramajo, who was like a high school kid back when he started covering the team, and to see him now a professional, it's mind blowing. But after, I know that the club decided to terminate their association with Tom and Dan, which a lot of the old OGs would like for them to be brought back into the fold. I know you did a little bit of podcasting with them after that association had terminated, but people want to hear you, and they feel that there's still a space for you in the pod sphere, and they want to know if you will be interested in reuniting with Tom and Dan and just do it all over again.
I would 100% love that. I was just with them a few weeks ago, and I was lucky, right? The club asked me to go and be on SoccerCast with them, and maybe just to give them the soccer side from the club, but it was their magic, really. The two of them are amazing. I mean, they're two amazing guys. When you look at what they've done. And they'll always say, "Oh, we're not that smart." And I'm like, I'll beg to differ. They're two very smart guys, two very funny guys, and they understand the podcasting world so well. And I was just lucky that I got to sit there and enjoy their comedy. I think the three of us worked well together, and I hope so. One day I'd love to. We actually. We kicked about the idea of having a one-off SoccerCast reunion show. And so we have thrown that idea out and about. And I've actually gone to them for another reason. I went to them for another reason to work on something else. But we talk about that. And I think that, I've also talked about the idea of being back in the pod world with a few people. I respect and listen to what you guys do. I love it. And there's another couple out there that I've been fortunate enough to be on. I mean, look, I'm a supporter. I'm a supporter that got a real lucky seat, and that's always what I wanted to be. I just wanted to be the supporter's voice in and amongst all these experts and people that were doing it, and I just wanted to represent the supporter, and I was lucky enough to do that. And honestly, we have just the greatest supporters, and I have just so much love in my heart for all of them. I'm so proud that I could do what I did, and that some people enjoyed what I did. So, I really enjoyed my time with Tom and Dan. They're two spectacular guys, entertaining, funny, talented, and I would love to do that again with them.
No, absolutely. And as a fan, I would love to see you back with those guys. And I would love for the club to once again reach out to the people that brought success to the club from the very beginning. Like I said, to me, Tom and Dan are part of the history of Orlando City, and they deserve that recognition as well. And lastly, Tom, you got involved in indoor soccer with the Orlando Seawolves. I went to those games, and you did fantastic. I was there on your first win, blown away completely. I really enjoy the game. Unfortunately, bad management and situations that that out of both of our controls punish this fan base with taking the club away. But you have returned to the indoor game in a new league with a new team, and we would like to hear more about it because there's a lot of people super excited that the venue is going to be a different one, closer to where everything's happening, and obviously hopeful that you can once again recapture that magic with the Seawolves and now with the Crusaders.
Thank you. Yes. The people that you meet in this game, I one day I'm going to sit down and write a book about these people and the times that you have. And, as an example, I'll never forget the guy who ran the team looking at me in the first year and coming back, almost bragging about the fact he goes, I went to the Hard Rock in Tampa last night. And I'm like, oh, that's great. He goes, I won payroll. I'm like, you did what? So, I mean, he's gambling the players' payroll. So the club was run by a guy who didn't have a whole lot of money and had a gambling problem. So I don't know, how could that ever fail, right? But I do love the game of indoor soccer, and it's entertaining in itself, and it's its own product. It's obviously not the outdoor game, and you should never look at the two similarly at all. The indoor game combines hockey with futsal. There's basketball patterns that get pulled in, and of course there's some soccer rules. Where you play with your feet, but the walls change everything. The boards and the glass change the game, and it's a constantly transitioning game. There's chances up the floor every time. There's saves, and it's fun. It's fast. It's high scoring. And I just want to get people in once. Look, that's not to take anything, nor could you ever take anything away from the outdoor game or Orlando City. I think it's something where, look, Orlando City is not playing mostly at the times that we play. So, hey, if you're of a mind and you'd like to check it out, come check us out. We're at UCF. I knew it had to be there when the first guy told me he was going to be down at Silver Spurs in Kissimmee. I went, it's too far. A lot of but nobody's going to go down there. I said, it's just, you have Friday night games at like 7. People can't get down there. I'm like, this is ridiculous. When you have a nice arena, like UCF that's sitting in town, and not only its student population, which is like just under 72,000 now, commuter based, and I'm sure some are also on online students, but there's still a good population that live in and around that arena that are looking for things to do. Sits on the border of Orange and Seminole counties. There's lots of families there. So it's up to us to do a job of exposing our product to people and enticing them to come and watch, and making it fun and exciting for them. And that's what I want to do. I want to make the games fun and exciting. And not only this time do we have a men's team, but we have a women's team, which excites me to no end. We've already signed Bridget Callahan, who is a former Pride player. We're working on a few others. We have some announcements this week. Will Johnson will be playing with us. I have another former Orlando City player that we're going to be announcing this week. I have a young man who we're going to sign who is formerly from Sporting Kansas City that we're going to be announcing this week. So it's starting to get very, very exciting as you see Bridget right there. And she's an infectious young lady, let me tell you. Her personality really matches the way she plays and the way she approaches the game. She's this effervescent, bubbly person, and her playing style is skillful and it's fast. She's going to be fantastic indoor. I cannot wait to work with her. And we've signed. We have another lady that we're going to be signing this week too, who has ties with Orlando City. I know her very well. I don't want to say anything more than that. But we're building with local players that live around the Orlando area, and some players that have played at UCF, and so they're coming back to play at their alma mater. So it's very exciting. I can't wait to get started. I can't wait to let more people know about the indoor game, and I just want them to come give it a try. And you get, average ticket price is about $20, and you get 2 games. So the men and the women play on the exact same day, and they play one after the other. And it's going to be it's going to be fun, fast, exciting, and I really can't wait to get started, because I truly do love indoor soccer. I grew up I watched soccer grow in this country from the time I was a kid, when the NASL came, and then it went away. And when it did, the major indoor soccer league took its place. And I remember teams in Dallas, Baltimore, Los Angeles, Tacoma, Kansas City. They were putting Wichita. They were putting 15, 16, 17, 18, 20,000 people in the arenas to watch indoor soccer. It was on television. It was on ESPN. JP Dellacamera was one of the voices of MISL. So it's got a root here in this country. No, it will never, ever, and let me be very clear, never, ever, ever will it ever come close to doing anything with the outdoor game, nor should it. I love the outdoor game, but it is its own product, and it's fun. So I'd like for people to come give it a try.
Sure. And I'm going to say this, indoor soccer, if you really love when games do not end up 0-0 or on a tie, if you really want the goals, then this is the game you need. Indoor soccer, it could easily end up 10-7, or it could end like 5-2. It's fast paced, and there's you have to have a lot of good footwork skills. You like the beautiful, nutmegs and things like that, and flank football, what I call it, playing through the flank speed, then this is a game for you. Definitely go there and support the Crusaders, because we are all one big family. We're all here for the City Beautiful, and we're here to support each other. And definitely the Crusaders have definitely my vote. I'm definitely going to go check them out. Also, probably get accredited. I'll probably call Tom, see if we can go ahead and get into the media opportunities.
Easy. Done.
Yeah, there you go. Approved. But Paola, you've missed some Pride games. Please, you need to go support the Crusaders, man.
No pressure, but I have the head coach here. I need to go now.
Yeah.
No, but for real, I like watching it on TV, indoor soccer. So I think I'm gonna enjoy it. Not that I don't enjoy any other sport, but I'm gonna try it out, because I was seeing a lot of Seawolf before, and I didn't know it disappeared like that, and then now the Crusaders. So now is the opportunity to go and support this type of soccer, because I know it's gonna start little, but then it's gonna grow even more. So I want to go. I'm pumped.
Yeah,
when does start? Where are you guys starting the season?
We'll start mid-December. And it'll go till April, depending on how far we go, which I honestly think, with the teams that we're putting together, both teams have a chance to go very, very far in year one. Our goal is to make every game fun and enjoyable for the people that come in. I want you to think of some of the things that you see at an NBA game, some of the things that you see at a hockey game. We have a chance to make our product a little bit different. we can do different things that you wouldn't do with an outdoor game. And I think we should do that. We should do everything we can to differentiate our product. And at the same time, encourage people back to Orlando City when it's time for MLS to start, and to watch not only Orlando City, but to watch the Orlando Pride. I'm really proud of the job that Seb and Giles and Mickey are doing with the Orlando Pride. They've come into a tough situation. They have really righted the ship. And I know in talking with Carrie and a couple of the other players that they are enjoying working alongside Seb and Giles and Miggy. They say they treat them just like players. They say it's a fun environment. They say it's a real competitive environment now, and they enjoy coming in and getting down to work. And I think you're seeing that in their results. So I'd encourage more people too to get out to some of the Pride games if you can get out to them.
And Tom, one of the things that was problematic with the Seawolves was there was many times where the games were conflicting with Orlando City. They were starting at the same time or immediately after Orlando City let out. And, I want to be in everything, but I cannot violate the laws of physics. I can make it from downtown to Kissimmee within seconds. That was one of the main complaints that a lot of people had, that they wanted to support both products, but they were making it where you have to choose one versus the other. So are we going to try to avoid that this time around?
Well, we would always do anything we could. It's going to be a little difficult because we don't know what the 2023 MLS schedule is going to be. And we have to put our schedule together. We certainly don't want to create any conflict. I'd love for everybody to be able to come to both. It's a little hard to do. Like I said, we're not privy to the MLS 2023 schedule, and they're obviously they're not going to worry too much about what the NISL schedule is going to be. So, but I think for the most part, I think most of the games, when we get in December, January, February, there's going to be absolutely no conflict at all. So, hopefully we can get you there. Really get you to have a good time to where you want to come back. And that's the ultimate compliment that can be paid. I think you'd mentioned, how high scoring it is and how fun it is. We actually lost a game in my second year. We lost 8-7 to St. Louis, but we were 7-4 down going into the final period. And they had scored to go 8-4 up, and then we went on a run and we scored 3 straight to go 8-7. In the last minute, we pulled our goalkeeper. We played 6th attacker. Shots were flying, saves were being made, blocks were being made. Everybody was up off their seat. Everybody was screaming, and people walked away saying that was fun. Even though we lost, they said it was fun. And that's the idea. We want it to be fun. We want you to come and enjoy a night watching the women play, watching the men play. We want you to get prizes. We're going to be doing lots of activations with sponsors, lots of games with Inside the Game, lots of silly stuff on the screen that you see. We're really going to try and blow this out and have a really good time. And we want everybody to just come have a good time with us.
That's right. And, make sure that you go support the Central Florida Crusaders, Orlando Pride as well. They unfortunately lost against the Thorns. World-class team, in my opinion, the Thorns. So, but this team is the way Giles, Miguel, and just like Tom was saying, the attitude is completely different. Everyone is there to go play and win, and you can definitely see it. And I couldn't be any more proud for being able to cover the Pride and being able to talk about the Pride. So I want to definitely thank Communications for that. Regarding, I want to ask Tom, how did the conversation with Will Johnson, because he was with the Central Florida Panthers, how did that conversation had of him playing indoor soccer came about? He's always been, when he played in Orlando City, very crafty with his feet. He's always, doing a little bit of a footwork show, as when he was playing with Orlando City. And then, how did that transition happen? Essentially, like, how did you came up with that idea of bringing him over into the Crusaders?
I think it was his idea.
That was his idea.
Obviously, he was with the Panthers, and this year he was playing with us when he found out that I was going to do the NSL, and he goes, "So I'm going to be playing indoor soccer now." And I said, "Yeah, I guess you are." And so he was excited about it. I think it's something that he wants to give a try. I know that we're going to have a lot of crazy celebrities out there due to him. And I say crazy, they're pretty cool, like Johnny Damon. I know I was in a box, and this is a funny story, and it shows like where I was embarrassed, actually. So there was a guy in the box, and we're talking and high-fiving the whole night with everybody in there. Things are going on. We're having a good time. And at the end, Will goes, "Oh, bring this guy. This guy can be a celebrity coach for us." And I said, "Great." And I'm like, because I was embarrassed. I didn't know. And I said, what's his celebrity? I said, "I'm sorry. I don't know. I feel bad." And he goes, "This is the drummer for Creed and Alter Bridge." And I went, "Oh."
Wow.
I said, "Well, I know the music." I said, "I've actually seen one of your concerts." I said, "That's cool." So hopefully we get like lots of cool celebrities to come out. So yeah, really looking forward to it. And Will was in from the second I was in. I think it's something that he wants to try, to say that he's giving it a go. And it's not easy, I will tell you. In MASL, when I was there, Landon Donovan was in that league, and I watched him struggle. I watched Jermaine Jones struggle. It's hard to learn indoor soccer in 1 year. There is a tactic to it. It is a professional sport, and these players that do play it, they understand it and they're proud of it themselves. So it does take some time to learn indoor soccer, and I think Will's open to the challenge. Now, having really good technical players will shorten some of that learning curve for them. So, but Will's going to be great at indoor. I can't wait to let him go. I also can't wait to see what happens when you tell them that they're on minute shifts, because everybody's shifted, right? And in the first year, I had Lewis Neal and Luke Bowden, Johnny Mendoza, Tyler Turner, all these MLS and USL players. And I looked at him, and I looked at Luke, and I said, "All right." I said, "Hey, don't forget minute shifts." He goes, "Minute shifts?" He goes, "I'm just playing 90 minutes. And I go, "Minute shifts." He went out for his very first shift, and he came back, put his arm around me. He goes, I understand now. I understand why I'm saying minute shift, because it's up and down. It's like hockey when you think about it. And that energy and that transition and the intensity of it.
There's no positions. There's no set positions. Like
there kind of is. You usually play with two defenders, a midfielder, a second forward, and a target player, or what in futsal you call it a pivot. And then you have your goalkeeper, and your goalkeeper's extremely important indoors. Yeah. Everything goes through their feet. If you don't have a goalkeeper that can play with their feet indoor, you're in big trouble. You're not going to do very well. So I think I'm curious and excited to watch Will and a couple other players in their learning curve in indoor, to watch how they handle shifting. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and I look forward to seeing the three of you there as well.
Oh, for sure. You bet. Are you guys going to have like jerseys and things like that? Are they UCF colored?
We did. We chose that on purpose. We said if we're going to be, in that arena and on that campus, we want to try to tie into that culture as well. Definitely. So, going black and gold was kind of a natural. And when you're in that arena is very black and gold. So it's going to look like an arena that was made for us, even though it wasn't. It was made for the UCF Knights. So, but yeah, so it was really cool. I think we got into a little bit of trouble with the name, but that's kind of passed by.
Who came up with the name?
Andrew Haynes, who owns and operates the team. He came up with it. And, when he first told me, I kind of went, well, I'm like, "Are you sure?" And he says, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." And we've had a little bit of pushback, and but nothing too bad. And I don't think a bunch of soccer players in Orlando, Florida, are ever going to go try and change anything religiously in other countries. So it's just a name to try and tie in a little bit closer to the UCF Knights.
At least it wasn't the Manatees.
That was great, by the way. And
yeah,
Yvonne Hayes, let me tell you what. Wait till you see Yvonne Hayes play. She is a absolute killer. She's amazing. But I really can't wait to work with the ladies because they're. I've always said this, and I believe this to be true. Watch women's soccer. Watch the World Cup teams. Watch the Pride. Watch the teams that you just saw in Euros. Ladies just get on with the game. There's no draw. There's no surrounding the ref. There's no flopping. There's no diving. There's no trying to get yellow cards. There's no. They approach the game with a lot more ethics, I think, than the men do. So I appreciate that about the women's game, and they play hard as well. Let me tell you, they tackle hard. So I really can't wait to get started. It's going to be something new for me. I've never had a chance to work with a women's team, or I've never coached a girls team. So it's something that I'm excited about. And the ladies that we're putting together, they're just cool people. So this is going to be a lot of fun.
Right now, are you guys more like inclined to just have tryouts happening for each team, and maybe because there are a lot of college, at least I know for a fact, like, UNF, like USF, like players that maybe have played soccer for those teams. I know, for example, in the women's side, I know I have a lot of friends in UNF and things like that, and their NWSL hopes and dreams apparently don't pan out as the way they want to, because there's just so much talent in women's soccer here in the United States. Would you think of maybe doing some sort of scouting in college for those particular teams, or you guys are going to take more of an approach like back when I remember when Orlando City was also doing tryouts back in the day when they first started? Is that going to be the case?
Indeed, we will have tryouts. We definitely will for both teams. Working to set a date right now. They're going to happen at Excel. Just need to get the dates set, and then we'll be announcing them as well. I spend time going to UCF games, to Rollins games. I've gone over and I just finished watching Eastern Florida. Both their men's and their women's teams. I'll be watching Daytona State. I'll be going to watch Stetson. And I'm looking for the local kids, the local men and women that have grown up here. We'll build our team through a combination of signing players that we know are going to work well in indoor, and also from our tryouts. We fully anticipate signing a few players from our open tryout.
Fantastic. Dave, you want to add anything else before we?
No, yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank Mr. Tom Traxler. Let's just say that for accepting our invitation. Thank you very much, Tom. I don't hide it. I'm a big fan of yours. Throughout the years, I have a huge respect for the people that built our club, and that continue to be part of it. This time from the stands, from the terraces. So thank you very much for that. I would like to remind everybody, my vlog, The Legendary David, on YouTube, have the latest episode in Spanish and in English. So basically, it's just the intro and the outro. It's what changes. The bulk of the video, it's pretty much the same in both languages. About Wednesday night. Also, I made an appearance with our friends from Orlando City Fan TV with my kids. So be on the lookout for that one. It was a spicy one, and an emotional one, because a listener of the show basically said, hey, if it wasn't for David, I would have never gone into Orlando City. So he said some nice things about me. So I told him, let's record this so I can take it to the house and show my wife that some people appreciate me somehow. And with that said, please let's go and support the boys Wednesday and Saturday. We only have 3 games left at home. Right. These 2 being those games, and after Saturday we have a 2-week break in action. So go get your Orlando City fix. Thank you again for everybody here watching the show. I said it on Twitter, obviously with Tom and everything. We're running out of time, but I have to say it, and I'm gonna say it publicly. My apology to our Profe Oscar Pareja. I said that perhaps it was time to move on. from him. He has turned it around. A lot of respect for the man. And I didn't say anything nasty or negative. I just said that perhaps if this is the plateau that we're on, that it's okay to look into something else. But he has changed my perception of him. Obviously, after the meeting that they had with the staff and the players, we went on a rampage, winning 4 games in a row, plus the Open Cup. So there it is, profe. Mis disculpas, lo quiero mucho y se lo voy a decir cuando lo vea de frente. So with that said, thank you very much, guys, and I give the microphone to Paola.
Paola.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Tom, for being today with us. I'm pumped. I want to go to an indoor soccer game on December whenever the season starts, and I will be there with my fiance, probably rooting
Your
for you
husband by
guys.
then. Your
My
husband by then.
husband by then. I need to get used to that.
Oh.
So tomorrow we're gonna record Tiro de Esquina podcast. Spanish for my followers. I'm gonna say this. I was in the city hall on Thursday. The energy from the team, I could felt it. They were happy. If you go to our Twitter, Tiro de Esquina podcast, I upload the message of Mauricio Pereira, and he was happy. Like, that man was smiling ear to ear since he sit down in that seat, and that means a lot. So like David said, let's go this Wednesday. There's no excuse. This Wednesday I'm gonna be there, and I work super early every single day. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be there on Saturday, but I will be watching, hopefully in my phone. But thank you for the support. Thank you, Tom, again for being here with us. A little bit long, but it's super exciting to talk about soccer. So thank you, guys.
So I want to, before we end, obviously thank Tom for being here, and we do have a chair open if you would like to ever come over and just speak about Orlando, the Crusaders, Pride. There's a chair open. You're more than welcome to come in anytime. This is your house. So
Thank you. Oh my gosh,
yeah.
that means a
Yeah,
lot. Like
for
I
sure.
said, anytime, for what you guys do is fantastic, and it comes from your heart, and that's what, and you do a wonderful job. And to be invited on is always an honor. And anytime you'd like me to be on, reach out. I absolutely love doing.
We sure will.
I love sitting with any Orlando City supporters and the people that do podcasts and just talking soccer Orlando City. It's fun for me. So it seemed like the time flew by, and I had a really good time. And I just want to thank each of you for inviting me to be a part of your podcast.
Thank you.
No, thank you. And I also want to thank 181 Creative and my friend George Raymond for taking I think the best shots of picture-wise for this iconic moment. If you want to check them out, I know that I didn't post it on Twitter. I know Twitter is not really my how do I say this? It's not my essence.
Your bread and butter.
I breathe more the Instagram and the YouTube. But again, I didn't put the pictures on Twitter, but you can check them out on our Instagram. And I want to also give a shout out to Ricardo Moreira. 181 was able to, and Loud and Proud was able to capture a really good moment of not only him, but the Wolves and the Cup and the players. So if you want to check all that out, go to our Instagram page, as well as our Facebook. Check it out, Loud and Proud Orlando. But I want to thank Tom. I want to thank everyone. We're growing. We're almost at 500 subs, almost halfway in the mark to the 1K. Let's go ahead and end the year with a bang. Spread the word about the show. We're also available on all social media outlets. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as Loud and Proud Orlando. Drop us a like, subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell for all notifications. And then we're also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So thank you so much for all your support. And vamos Orlando, guys. We'll see you guys
Vamos
next week.
Orlando.
Take care.
Vamos, Orlando.
Vamos, Orlando.